Ever get that feeling like something's just not right? Like a chill down your spine? Imagine that feeling, but 1,000 times worse when you realize someone you love is in danger.
Yeah, it's like that unsettling feeling when something is off.
That's what happened to Bob and Rosemary Nellie on January 25th, 2019.
Oh, wow.
Their daughter, Elizabeth Liz Barza,
Okay.
was found shot and killed in her driveway.
Oh, my goodness.
It's the kind of story that really makes you think about safety and security and how fragile it all can be.
Yeah, we often think we're safe in our neighborhoods, especially quiet, middle-class ones. But Liz's story is a harsh reminder that danger can lurk anywhere. It's a chilling thought.
Absolutely. Liz was living what seemed like an ordinary life in Tomball, Texas.
Okay.
She was a wife, a daughter, a friend. She had a garage sale planned for that day.
Oh, wow.
A simple, everyday activity that would become tragically intertwined with her fate.
A garage sale. That just adds to the tragedy. It underscores the randomness of the attack, the way violence can erupt in the most unexpected of places.
It really does. And here's the thing. The killer didn't just disappear.
Really?
They were caught on a security camera. Their movements, their disguise,
Wow.
everything was deliberate and chillingly effective.
So they have footage of the killer. That's got to be helpful for the investigation, right?
You would think so.
Oh.
But 6 years later, the case is still unsolved.
Unsolved. With video footage, that's mind-boggling. I mean, it's almost like having a piece of the puzzle, but not knowing where it
It's
fits.
a puzzle with a missing piece.
Mm.
That footage is a constant reminder that the answers are out there,
Yeah.
somewhere just out of reach.
I can only imagine how frustrating that must be for the investigators, and especially Liz's family, to have that visual evidence, but still no answers.
It's got to be incredibly frustrating. And speaking of the footage, it all starts with that doorbell camera. We see Liz, bright and cheerful,
Yeah.
greeting someone
Okay.
with a good morning.
Yeah.
It's an ordinary exchange, the kind we all have countless times, but in this case, it's the prelude to a horrific act. Seconds later, 4 gunshots echo through the air, ending Liz's life.
God, that's chilling to think about. I mean, just going about your day and then suddenly it's all over. Looking back on that footage, knowing what happens, it must be so eerie for investigators, like watching a ghost.
Absolutely, and the audio even more so. You can hear the muffled conversation, the sudden gunfire,
Right.
and then that eerie silence.
And sends shivers down my spine just thinking about it. It's those little details that really bring home the horror of the situation.
And what's particularly haunting is that the killer returns to the scene just minutes later.
What? They came back. Why?
Captured on a neighbor's security camera, it raises so many questions.
Like, what was the purpose of going back? Was it to make sure Liz was dead, or maybe they forgot something, or maybe they wanted to see the aftermath? That's a chilling thought, isn't it? Like they were deriving some sort of satisfaction from what they'd done.
Absolutely. It definitely points to a level of premeditation and a disturbing lack of remorse.
Right.
And their planning. The disguise, the choice of weapon.
A revolver, right. They said that's the kind that doesn't leave shell casings behind. That shows a lot of forethought. This wasn't some random act of violence. This was planned.
Very planned. They even parked their truck in a way that minimized their exposure to the Barza's Nest camera.
So they knew about the camera. Wow. This person really thought this through. It's like they were trying to erase themselves from the scene as much as possible. It's almost like they were a ghost leaving no trace behind.
A ghost leaving behind a trail of tragedy.
Right.
And that leads us to one of the first people investigators looked at, Liz's husband, Sergio.
Okay.
Initially, he seemed cooperative, giving them access to their home, their electronics, even information about Liz's life insurance policy.
Yeah.
But as the investigation went on, cracks started appearing in his story.
Oh, that's interesting. Cracks like what?
Well, his stories about the garage sale signs kept changing. Plus, his demeanor during questioning seemed detached.
Detached, huh? That is a red flag. I mean, you'd expect someone who just lost their spouse to be distraught, not detached. It makes you wonder if he was trying to hide something, Maybe suppress his emotions so he wouldn't give anything away.
It definitely raised red flags for investigators. And then there was the matter of Liz's life insurance policy.
Okay.
A $500,000 payout, doubled to $1 million because her death was ruled a homicide.
Wow, $1 million. That's a significant amount of money.
Sergio claims he didn't know about the policy's full value. And Liz's father, Bob, backs up his story, saying he was the one who encouraged her to get the coverage.
I see. So we have a potential motive here, but is it enough to pin it on Sergio? It's a tough one. I mean, life insurance is pretty common, and just because someone benefits from a death doesn't automatically make them a killer, right?
Right. But the timing, just days before Liz and Sergio's anniversary trip to Disney World,
Oh, wow.
combined with the potential payout, inevitably raises questions. Did Sergio know more than he let on? Or was he truly in the dark about the policy?
That's the question, isn't it? Was he a grieving husband, or was he putting on an act? Investigators see that kind of thing all the time, trying to separate genuine grief from a carefully constructed facade. It's a difficult job, but someone's got to do it.
And as investigators dug deeper into Sergio's life, they uncovered another piece of the puzzle, his father, Oscar.
His father, okay. What about him? Well, Oscar's life was kind of a mess, to be honest. Yeah, financial troubles, extramarital affairs, you name it.
Wow.
The guy was drowning in debt.
Really?
Yeah, and I mean, it's the kind of situation that can push people to do desperate things.
So you're thinking maybe he saw Liz's life insurance policy as a way out?
It's possible, right? I mean, maybe he was desperate to save himself, saw this as a way to solve his problems, maybe thought Sergio would use the money to bail him out.
That's a chilling thought, using your own son like that.
Yeah, or even worse.
What do you mean?
What if he orchestrated the whole thing? You know, manipulated Sergio into playing a part in his plan? That's dark, I know, but we can't rule it out.
It's definitely a possibility.
Right.
I mean, the evidence against Oscar is mostly circumstantial,
Right.
but his lies to the police about his affairs and finances definitely make him look suspicious. It's like he's hiding something.
Yeah, those lies trying to cover things up, that's often what trips people up in these cases. It's human nature to want to protect yourself, but in a murder investigation, it can really backfire.
It makes you wonder what he's so afraid of.
Exactly.
So we have two potential suspects, each with their own motives and inconsistencies.
Right.
But the investigation didn't stop there. Detectives explored every angle. They looked into Liz's Star Wars fan group, her work at the Rosen Group.
Wow, they really cast a wide net.
But they even considered if it was some kind of gang initiation.
The gang initiation. Seriously.
Yeah, sounds far-fetched, but they had to explore every possibility, right?
Yes, so. It's like they had to rule everything out, no matter how unlikely.
Exactly. It's all about eliminating possibilities until you're left with the truth, no matter how long it takes.
That makes sense, a process of elimination.
And these days, investigators have technology on their side. They used geofencing.
Geofencing, now that's interesting.
Right. They analyzed cell phone data from the area around the time of the shooting.
Oh, so like they created a virtual fence around the crime scene and then looked at all the phones that were active in that area.
Exactly. They were hoping to find any unusual activity that might point to the killer.
Makes sense. It's a smart strategy. Use the technology to your advantage.
But get this.
Yeah.
The geofencing data showed a surprising result. The only unusual activity came from first responders.
What? So the killer didn't have their phone on them?
It seems that way. Investigators think the killer might have left their phone behind.
That's strange. I mean, why would a meticulous planner like that risk leaving their phone at the crime scene? It doesn't add up.
It's a head-scratcher for sure.
Yeah, it's almost as if they wanted to get caught leaving that kind of evidence behind. Unless
What?
it was a deliberate attempt to mislead the investigation. You know, throw the cops off their scent by planting a fake trail.
It's possible.
Right.
And then there's that theory about the killer having access to the Barza's Nest camera.
Oh, yeah, that's a creepy thought. Someone watching their every move.
Imagine that. Someone monitoring Liz's movements, waiting for the right moment to strike. It's a chilling possibility.
It is. I mean, in this age of smart homes and always-on connectivity, we're all vulnerable to that kind of intrusion. It's like Big Brother is watching, except in this case, it's not the government, it's someone much more sinister.
Liz's parents said they didn't share their login information with anyone. But the possibility of a digital breach, well, it adds another layer of intrigue to this already complex case. It makes you think about all the ways technology can be used against us.
For sure. It's like a double-edged sword. Technology can help us, connect us, protect us, but it can also be used to exploit us, invade our privacy, and even cause harm.
It's a scary thought.
It is.
And of course, we can't forget about the rumors and online speculation that surrounded this case. Social media was a breeding ground for theories.
Oh, I bet. People love to play armchair detective, especially with a case like this.
That's like a real-life mystery novel full of twists and turns, and everyone wants to be the one to crack the code.
Right. And with social media, those theories and rumors spread like wildfire. Sometimes it's hard to separate fact from fiction.
Exactly. And some people were convinced that Liz's murder was a gang initiation. Others thought it was a case of mistaken identity.
Mistaken identity. I mean, come on, how could you mistake someone for someone else in their own driveway?
I know, it sounds crazy, But people were grasping at straws, trying to make sense of this senseless act.
I guess it's human nature to try to find an explanation, even if it doesn't make much sense. We want to believe that there's a reason for everything, even something as horrible as murder.
And then there was all the speculation about Sergio's new relationship, people jumping to conclusions, accusing him of infidelity, even suggesting that his fiancée Amber might be involved.
Oh, wow. People can be so quick to judge, can't they? Especially when there's a potential motive, like money or a new love interest.
It's like they forget that these are real people with real lives, not just characters in a true crime drama.
Right. And for Liz's family, all that online speculation just added to their pain. They were grieving, trying to make sense of this unimaginable loss, and then they had to deal with all this noise from strangers who thought they knew what happened.
It's heartbreaking, really. They deserve privacy and respect during this difficult time, not judgment and accusations from people who don't even know them. It's a reminder that we need to be careful about what we share and what we believe, especially when it comes to sensitive cases like this. It's frustrating, isn't it? We've explored all these angles, examined the evidence, and yet we're still left with the question, who killed Liz Barza?
It really is. Was it about the money? Was it someone she knew, someone close to her? Or was it a random act of violence? We may never know for sure, and that's the hardest part. Some mysteries just remain unsolved.
But even in the darkness of this case, there's a glimmer of light, a reminder of Liz's spirit and the impact she had on others.
You're talking about the organ donation.
Yet Liz's organs were donated. In a final act of generosity, she gave the gift of life to others.
That's a beautiful thing, you know? Even in death, she was able to help others. It's a testament to her character, her kindness. It shows you the kind of person she was.
And Liz's best friend, honoring her love of reading and her big heart, started a library in her name, donating Harry Potter books to children's hospitals.
Oh, wow. What a wonderful tribute. Using books to spread joy and keep Liz's memory alive, that's really special.
It is, and it speaks volumes about the kind of person Liz was. Someone who brought joy to others. Someone whose life was cut tragically short, but whose spirit continues to inspire.
Right, and it shows that even though the answers may remain elusive, the impact of a victim's life can continue to ripple outward, touching the lives of others in positive ways.
So, what can we, the listeners, do? How can we keep Liz's memory alive? And maybe even help in the search for justice?
Well, sometimes a fresh perspective, a new set of eyes on the case, can make all the difference. You never know. Maybe someone listening right now will remember something, some detail that could help break this case wide open.
It's worth a shot. Remember those garage sale signs Sergio talked about? No one seems to recall seeing them. And there are no photos of them anywhere.
You're right. I don't remember seeing any photos of the signs either. That's strange.
Could they be a crucial clue that everyone's overlooked? And what about the killer going back to the scene? Was it to make sure Liz was really dead? Or to grab something?
Or maybe, like some people have suggested, to avoid running into the police. It's definitely odd behavior no matter how you slice it. It makes you think there's more to the story, something we're missing.
Maybe, just maybe, that second pass was a mistake, a slip-up that could unravel the whole case.
I hope so. It would be a relief for Liz's family to finally get some answers, some closure after all these years.
It would, and we can't rule out that theory about the Nest camera.
Right. What if the killer was watching Liz, waiting for the perfect moment?
If anyone out there has any information about someone who had access to their system or who knew Liz's schedule, no matter how small it seems, please contact the authorities.
Every little detail matters. You never know what piece of information could be the missing link that cracks this case wide open.
We encourage everyone to visit the website dedicated to Liz's case, whokilledlizbarraza.com. You'll find photos, videos, a timeline of events. Share it, talk about it, keep Liz's story alive, and let's work together to finally bring her killer to justice.
Liz's case is still open. That shows the dedication of law enforcement and the unwavering love of her family. The $50,000 reward still stands, a reminder that the search for truth continues.
What stands out to you in this case? Who benefited the most from Liz's death? Was this planned or was it just a terrible coincidence? We may never know for sure, but by keeping the conversation going, by remembering Liz, we keep the hope alive that someday the truth will come out.
Someone out there knows something. Someone knows who killed Liz Barza. Maybe they're afraid to come forward. Maybe they think their information isn't important. But it could be the key to solving this case, to giving Liz's family the answers they deserve.
If you have any information about Liz's murder, no matter how small you think it might be, please contact the Harris County Sheriff's Office or Houston Crime Stoppers. Even the smallest detail could be the one that brings Liz's killer to justice. And remember, even though our deep dive into this case is over, the search for answers continues.